If you know me, then you know I do my best to be a decent person. I'm not perfect by any means, but I try my best to stay on the straight and narrow. I tuck my pants in at work, I wave hi to my neighbors anytime I see them, I put my pants on one leg at a time like any civilized human being. But as much as me or anyone else tries to be a good example of a civil member of society, it's like that one Batman movie said, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And I too have lived long enough to see myself become a villain. This is my story of the time that I went from a goody two-shoes to an absolute bad boy. The time I decided to leave Weenie Hut Jr. and give the salty spittoon a try. This happened during the summer after 8th grade. Just got done with middle school and was moving on to high school. However, in the summer between that, we had a school field trip to DC as well as New York. A ton of people went on this trip. I think some 20, maybe even 30 students ended up going on this. It was a ton of fun. Our first stop was Washington, D.C., and it was very cool to see our nation's capital. Saw the White House, saw some memorials. It was very cool, very interesting. However, it was the part of the trip where we went to New York where it really got interesting. We made the usual stops that any visitor of New York would, Times Square, even checked out a Broadway show, and of course, we visited the Empire State Building. This was a very exciting part of the trip because who wouldn't want to visit the top of one of the world's tallest buildings? But little did middle school Daniel know that setting foot in this building would turn him into a felon. I remember when going through the line to go to the top, you were obligated to take a picture in front of a green screen. There was no getting around it. You and a group of people had to stand in front of this green screen and take a picture if you wanted to get in. Which is silly because what if you don't want a picture? I mean, it's in front of a green screen. It's not even at the top of the building. So why would you take a picture in front of a green wall instead of just at the top of the building? Oh, of course people don't want pictures at the top of the building. Everyone wants a picture of them photoshopped to look like they're at the top of the building. But no matter, we got past this little obstacle in the line and were able to go to the top. And was it a sight to behold? I am deathly scared of heights, but even with this, I had to look over the edge. I had to see the city. It was incredible. I did snag a couple pictures at the top, which I'll show you here, but no group pictures, unfortunately. Nothing with other people or even of myself, which would have been really cool. So I guess it was a good thing that we got that picture of us photoshopped at the top. So enjoyed my time up there, but it was time to head down. Now, like any good business, the Empire State Building makes you leave through the place where they get to sell you stuff. Now, it wasn't the gift shop or anything, but they did make you walk through this room where they had up all of the green screen pictures they took of people throughout the day. Now, this was just a ploy to get you to buy these photos. They were already printed and placed up on the wall. There was a person to help you find yours. But these pictures, just one picture, cost you 20 bucks. Little 8th grade me did not understand that you had to buy these pictures. I figured that they would just be free. I mean, they're already printed. If no one takes them, they're just gonna get thrown out. There was a sign saying that you could buy the pictures for 20, 25 bucks, whatever it was. But in my head, I rationalized it as, no, the initial picture is free, but you can buy extra photos afterwards if you want more. That's what costs 25 bucks. Because that is very expensive for a single picture in front of a green screen. But little naive Daniel, not realizing his grave misunderstanding, took his picture from the wall and simply walked out. No one stopped me. No lady at the counter was like, hey, you have to pay for that. There wasn't some grizzled macho guy standing at the door making sure that everyone pays for their pictures. And now I can confidently say that I pulled off the smoothest heist in history. I went in, grabbed the goods, and left with no one suspecting a thing. The moment I walked through those doors, I was a bona fide thief. But that's not where the story ends. I went to the spot where my class agreed to meet up after we were done with the top of the Empire State Building. Most of my classmates were already there at this point, but we were still waiting on a few other people. So, of course, in the meantime, I was showing off the picture that I had, like, hey, look, I got one of the pictures that we took at the beginning. Why doesn't anyone else have one? And that's when someone went, Daniel, you do know that you have to pay $20 for those, right? After that, I went pale. I had never committed such a crime in my life at that point. I got so scared and immediately started catastrophizing. My immediate thought was, oh my God, if any of the teachers or any of the chaperones on the trip find out that I have this and that I didn't pay for it, then they would for sure call the cops on me or something. They would definitely kick me off the trip, make my parents come to New York to pick me up and bring me home. And after that, I would get a stern talking to and a felon record, all this over a picture. So I decided that at that moment, that if I was going to save myself from this outcome, I had to turn myself in. Near the spot where we all met up, there was a security desk with this hulking security officer sitting there. Massive dude, very intimidating, especially to skinny little 8th grade me. But I walked up nonetheless and I went, sir, I need to let you know. I accidentally stole this. I was holding up the picture to his face like I committed the most egregious crime possible. And this man, he was obviously caught off guard and clearly did not want to deal with this little 8th grader who accidentally took a picture. I mean, it's a picture that was already printed out that was going to get tossed anyway. He looks at me and he hands me back the picture and he says, I appreciate your honesty. And for that, you get to keep the picture. And at that moment, a huge weight just lifted off of me. It immediately went from, I'm gonna go to jail to, I just got a picture for free. Honesty is the way. I am never gonna lie again. Everything works out for me all the time. So I walked back to my group. No one really asked me about anything regarding why I went up to the security desk, but I wasn't done yet. To make sure that my tracks were completely covered, I gave my picture to one of my friends who was also in the photo. I very nonchalantly asked him, hey, do you want this picture? You and me are in it. I think it'd be really cool if you had it. And he graciously accepted it. I was pretty confident that I was safe at that point, but just to make sure, I took the evidence and planted it on someone else. And really, that was the most devious thing about this whole ordeal. Because I accidentally took the picture, not knowing that I had to pay for it. But after I figured that out, knowing full well that I had stolen it, I gave it to someone else. Not out of the graciousest of my heart either. I just didn't want to hold on to it. Anyway, that is the story of the time I stole a picture from the Empire State Building. Don't worry, since that day, I've given up my ways of thievery and have gone back to being an upstanding citizen. Never again will I steal one of those pictures, nor will I pay for one. Anyway, that does it for me. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.